welcome to EBAday 2025 in Paris. Joining me in the studio away from a busy day 2 of EBAday is Paulo Barbosa, COO of Banfico.
Nice to be here.
Paulo, great to have you in the studio, thanks. So we're talking about a number of really interesting topics that are at the heart of a lot of discussions over the course of EBAday. One of which is verification of Payee. That's a really big one, isn't it? Perhaps you could bring us up to date in this space and tell us, are the timelines set realistic? Let's start there.
Yeah, so verification of Payee is definitely a big topic. The deadline is for the banks to be compliant is October, which is around the corner. So we have been having a lot of discussions with the banks, and there are certain aspects of the timeline which are not under our control. So I would say there are 3 different timelines that we need to sort of juggle. So on the VOP scheme, the EPC has been actively working to make sure everything is ready by October. Then we as technical providers, we are ready, but we are working alongside the banks to enable that technology within the bank and making sure that all the channels that are in scope of the regulation will be working properly by October. So it's very challenging, but I'm confident it will, in some shape or form, will be there by October, and it will continue to evolve after October.
All right, that's a positive note to lead off. But what's the role of RVM in meeting some of those challenges?
Yeah, so RVMs are key. So RVM stands for Routing and Verification Mechanism. So it's a technical intermediator that will enable the banks to communicate with each other. So we do this intermediation with the banks and this central directory that the EPC will be hosting. And we can also play a role on so they call it an agent role, where we can support the banks with the paperwork to join the EPC scheme. So it's much easier if you as an RVM do it many times than the bank having to go through the learning processes every single time. So we can speed up things on the technical side and on the admin side. And each RVM then provides their technology in a slightly different way. So I would say there's a compliance layer that all the RVMs are providing in line with the EPC scheme. But then the way you give it to the client and how you design it more on the technical side is where the RVMs can compete, and each bank has their own needs, so they should look for the RVM that best suits their internal needs to enable VOP.
All right, well, thank you very much for bringing us up to date. And what about interoperability? That's by no means a new term. We've spoken about it a lot in the past, certainly at EBAday, but there seems to be more urgency around interoperability today. So walk us through that.
Of course, so the old concept of VOP, it's a network effect. So all the banks are supposed to communicate with each other through RVMs. So far, RVMs have been working individually. Everyone has been working on their own technology, and now it's the time for us to do some tests, bilateral tests. So even the EPC is organizing some tests with a ART tool. So this API toolbox where there's some validation on the API formats. But as RVMs, we need to now move forward that and do some end-to-end tests to making sure that by October everyone will be able to communicate with each other. And as RVM ourselves, we have launched a new product called VOP Plus Services, which is aimed at that. So it's not only what needs to happen until October. So after October, there's a need for continuous checks on the interoperability. Are the API messages okay? Is my API available? So we have different modules within our product offering to making sure that banks and RVMs can continuously test the quality of the APIs and check that the APIs are working properly and available. So this is something we are providing to the industry, both banks and RVMs, to making sure that everything works as it's supposed to be working.
Sure. Well, Paulo, thank you so much for sharing your insights and predictions as well. Look forward to catching up after October. But for now, I'll leave it there, let you get back. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a busy day. So
Yes.
nice to meet you. Thanks.